Would you mind just sharing a little bit with the audience your role at the firm?
Yeah, I'm Director of New Business and Conflicts at Orrick. My department's responsible for all of the intake globally, all of new matters, new clients, conflicts clearance, lateral conflicts clearance, and then following up on a number of risk management, jobs and tasks, ethical walls, things like that.
Great. And what are the challenges or opportunities that you and the firm were looking at that caused you to want to have a terms of business initiative?
Well, I think initially we were concerned that, like a lot of people, that outside counsel guidelines might be out there in the various files and we weren't aware of them. So probably about 7 years ago, the firm decided to set up a policy that all outside counsel guidelines had to be centrally funneled through our risk management team. So we set up one individual on risk management to review the ethical terms, another in our client relationship to review the financial terms. And we've had success with that. Everyone seems to understand that that's the protocol. And then once we had all of that information collected, then just internally we wanted to know, well, how many times have we agreed to these types of terms? What's our success rate on pushing back on these types of terms? And then overall, how could we repurpose that data for better client relationships, but also better internally for risk mitigation?
Great. So I just want to key on one phrase that you said there on the client relationship, the client aspect of this. So much of what we're talking about today and what we're talking about yesterday is about starting to change that relationship and better engage with them. Or how much are you seeing terms of business benefit that part?
Well, it's clearly an opportunity to have conversations with the client, and I think that's part of the evolution about what we're looking at with outside terms. We have our next panel is about a little bit about that client success development and requirements, and I think from the onset it was like, well, how can we defend ourselves, if you will? From a risk standpoint in operations, I was concerned with how can I get this information into my system? How can we make sure the IS department understands that there will be security audits that we've agreed to, things of that nature. But in the process, and just anecdotally in our observations, when the attorneys had to review and vet the outside counsel guidelines with the in-house attorneys, there's opportunity for pushback, but there's also opportunity for negotiation. There's opportunity for discussion. There's a better opportunity to really understand where the client's coming from and then how the law firm can serve them.
Right. So you're using this both as kind of the back-end risk management system, but also as a new way to engage clients and using this with that. That's interesting. Are there any comments you could share with us about how the project is going with Intapp?
Yeah, I mean, we were an early adopter for the terms product. We were at a point where we had collected all the outside counsel guidelines and we were storing them in various, DMS kind of files and the like. But risk management really wanted to have some organization. Their initial suggestions were to load it all into Excel or something, and we kind of said, no, we're not going to do that. It just so happened we were talking to you about another product, and you raised that you were looking to get into this market. So we started working on it last year. We worked with your team to kind of get feedback on how we were approaching the profiling and the annotation of our outside counsel guidelines, how we wanted to repurpose that information, again, for research, for reporting it out, for client development and client retention.
And if I understand correctly, you have a vision where as the contracts are getting coded and you set up that initial cataloging of it, to actually have a connected, integrated system all the way through to the downstream compliance with those terms.
That's ideally what I'd really like. I'd like to be able to, once we have the terms established, then be able to pivot that to our intake side, where when I'm opening up new matters, or even opening up new clients that are affiliated, with client groupings, I can then report out initially, these are the key terms of the outside counsel guideline. There's a limitation on who can bill. They have to approve the timekeepers. We've agreed to the affiliate clause, things like that. So we can present it as new matters are being opened. We'll probably include a link to the full contract with the hope that it'll be read, but I don't think anybody's going to read the full contract. But we'd like to push that data out and then hopefully avoid situations where our client relationship teams is frustrated that something wasn't approved. Now we're looking at a loss of inventory. And as you pointed out, sort of some fraying to the client relationship. If the client, in the position they're in an in-house and the pressures they're under knows that not only did we get your OCG, but we've read it, we've sort of digested it, we've negotiated with you, we're aware of it, and we're federating that out so you don't get any surprises, that puts us in a better situation with risk mitigation and client relationship.